MindSpark is honored to have our alumnus Shri Gaur Gopal, International Life Coach, with us on our show, The Quarantine Talks. Gaur Gopal is an electrical engineer, having studied at the College of Engineering, Pune. After a brief stint with HP, he decided to upgrade his career to be a life coach. Since then, he has spoken at many charity events and has even spoken at the United Nations and thrice at the British Parliament. He is truly an urban online monk.
Sir, so we have questions pitched in by viewers, COEPians, and by us. We would like to have you answer some of them. Sir, so the first question is, what incidents did you encounter being an electrical engineer before you chose the path of a monk, a motivational speaker? Why did you choose this path?
I think as a student at COEP College of Engineering, Pune, and studying electrical engineering, it was like every average student. The life was like every other student at COEP. I don't think there were exceptional incidents or exceptional stories that happened. It was more or less similar. The exceptional difference came when I started working, you know. So it was HCL HP then. It was a merger of HCL and HP. So when I started my job, I asked myself a very important question, that I'm good at what I'm doing, decently good at my work. No one has a complaint, right? And I'm also being paid well for what I'm doing. The question is, I'm good and I'm paid well, but am I happy with what I'm doing? A lot of people in the world today are good at what they do and they're paid well for what they do, but they're not happy with what they do at all. Now, my proposition was this. If I were to work for about 8 hours a day, conservative number, it's much more, but conservative, about 8 hours a day, for 5 days a week, that would make it about 40 hours of work a week. And if I would assume that I had 2 weeks of holiday in a year, which is 50 weeks a year, that would mean about 50 into 40, 2,000 hours at work in a year. And if I would assume that I would work for about 45 years, 45 into 2,000 would make 90,000 hours at work. Now that's a daunting number, correct? I'm not sure if I would be 90,000 hours at work where I'm paid well and I'm good at it, but I'm not enjoying it. So which means 90,000 hours of my life have gone at doing something that I don't enjoy at all. 90,000 hours account to about 10 years of your life. So I thought to myself, hey, wait a minute. This is not me. I'm not just going to conform. I'm not just going to fit in because it pays me well and because I'm good at it. I also want one of the most important aspects of what I do: satisfaction, fulfillment, pleasure, happiness out of what I do. So then I decided, what am I going to do? So my interest was into life sciences, behavioral economics, psychology, spirituality, So naturally, thinking of what I should do, I took a little bit of an uncalculated risk, which I don't recommend. I straight away jumped in to become a monk. It was an uncalculated risk. Thankfully, it worked for me. Not sure if it would work for anybody who would take an uncalculated risk like that. But trust me, that was the reason for moving out. And not to say that people who are out there should be doing what I did, not at all, but they should definitely question themselves. Are they happy with what they do? Or is their passion something else? My work was not my passion. I decided I should do what my passion is. Is your work your passion? If your work is not your passion, 90,000 hours are going to go at work being miserable and nervous wrecks. That's my question. Would we, any of us, want to be that? I didn't choose to do that because that wouldn't fulfill me. And my request and appeal to everybody watching is, don't do that. You don't have to be a monk, but whatever your passion is, you have to move to live a life of your passion so that your 90,000 hours are valuable, satisfying, and fulfilling. Of course, I also understand that there will be real needs, loans, mortgages from family side. So you can't suddenly shift to passion. Sometimes you have to be in the work that you don't like simply to take care of your financial liabilities. But side by side, do follow your passion, even if it's a little bit. It'll not only satisfy you, maybe prospectively in the future, it could become your career. So I moved to be a monk because that was my interest. That was my passion. Monk wasn't my passion. My passion was life. and monk was the way to understand life.
Sir, you are a motivation to millions. Sir, what's your motivation?
My greatest motivation in life was, is, and hopefully will be, fingers crossed, the process of learning. I feel I'm a perpetual student, and you can only motivate yourself by learning more and more and more and more in whatever field you are in. It is important that we always refine, we improvise, we hone the quality of what we are doing. So I feel like I'm standing at a bottomless, shoreless ocean of knowledge. और कितना भी गोता लगाएंगे ना अंदर, वो depth मिलने वाला नहीं है. So which is why it is important that, at least for me, that's the case. And I do recommend that for all of us, the motivation should be endless learning, the process of learning. And most times I say, if you feel that you are the best or the smartest in a room, if you feel you're the smartest in a room, you're probably in the wrong room, because there's going to be so many people who are smarter, better than you. So my motivation is to hang out with other monks who are better than me, learn from them, read books, not only spiritual literatures, but other literatures from where I can learn, interact with students like yourselves, with business people, with people in general, and motivate myself, And then once you are in the process of learning and you're constantly improvising what you do, automatically you're in a position to add value to the world in whatever you do. If you're an engineer, you would add value. If you're a motivational speaker, you'd add value. If you're an actor, you would add value by learning more. And when you add value is when you get value in return. You could get value in return financially. You could get value in return in terms of popularity or outreach or followers or whatever that may be. But you get value in return only when you add value, and you add value only when you continue the process of learning. So my motivation all the time is to keep the process of learning going on, and I don't think that will ever end up my life.
Sir, you have traveled thousands of miles across the world. Do you notice a change or a variation in the fundamental beliefs or thought process of people?
Yes, I've traveled a lot. My average number of flights in a year are between 200 and 250. So that's how many flights I take in a year. One year it was 280 flights a year. So it was like I'm burned now, half burned. Only wings to come up with me. A lot of traveling, a lot of flying all over the world. And yes, I've seen a remarkable difference, a remarkable change in the thought process in people around the world. And I see a change from quantum or quantity to quality. People today are moving towards leading a quality life, especially the millennial generation. It is a lot about experience more than numbers. We are coming from a generation of numbers. Today we are in a generation of experience. And numbers is about quantity and experience is about quality, So we have movements like minimalism, where people are saying, okay, I would probably live with a less, but feel more. Like most millennials wouldn't want to buy a car today, because they're thinking, if I can Uber it out, if I can take an Ola, if I can take a cab, why would I buy a car? They wouldn't want to buy a house today. Why wouldn't they want to buy a house? Because if they're hopping and changing jobs all the time, if they take a job close to their a house close to their office, and in 6 months they change a job which is office is far away, they say, why pay in a job? We could just probably take a house on rent. Why have a holiday home where you can just Airbnb it? So I see a major shift from quantum to quality. Even from the work point of view, I was talking to one of my friends who was also like a coach, and he was talking about 3 generations at work. The first generation was the industrial revolution. The second was the information technology revolution. And today we are in the digital or the social revolution. So if you look at the industrial revolution, which is most of our grandparents, they worked because survival was necessary. So whatever was the job, the boss was abusive, गाली देता है boss, चलेगा क्योंकि हमको survive करना है, opportunity इतना ही है, ज़्यादा jobs मिलेगा नहीं. Then you moved into the IT revolution, which is most of your parents. And if you see the IT revolution, you would see it was more about your status, your standard of living. It wasn't just about survival. You would probably buy a car, but pay a mortgage or an EMI. You'd probably buy a house and pay an EMI, you know. So it was more about status, standard of living. Now in this digital revolution, in the modern age, it's no longer about status. It's no longer about standard of living. It's about quality of living. It's about quality at work. मुझे केवल जॉब में सरवाइव नहीं करना है और मुझे पैसा चाहिए केवल स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग नहीं बढ़ाना है. I want quality opportunities at work for growth. I want quality work environment. I want quality relationships at work. I want quality networking at work. So if you see, the modern world is about quality, and there has been a massive shift from numbers and quantity to quality, you know. And I see it everywhere, whether it's life or work. People are looking for experience and quality in the world today.
Okay, sir. So, have there been times when you didn't feel confident? What did you do that improved that situation?
Thank you, Advai, for that question. Was there a point when I didn't feel confident? To say that somebody's graph would be a linear line, straight line, is nonsense, right? Nobody's graph is a straight line, which is a linear graph, linear line. Everybody's graph is a sine wave. Since we're talking to engineering students, it's a sine wave. There's always going to be up and down constantly. And to say that you're confident all the time would be absolute lying, I would say, you know. So I think there are moments, whatever emotion it is, lack of confidence, whatever it is, there are going to be those low phases for all of us. And when we have those low phases, what we do to bounce back and how quickly we bounce back is greatness. Greatness is not that you feel low. Greatness is, do you bounce back? And how quickly do you bounce back? Correct? Greatness is not that you won't fall. Greatness is when you fall, how quickly do you stand up? And how quickly do you start walking? Correct? So there definitely have been moments. Correct? Like I was always used to speak to crowds. Correct? I would be having people in front of me, and when you have people whom you are talking to, they reciprocate. आदान प्रदान होता है वहां पर. लोग हंसते हैं, लोग रोते हैं. You crack a joke, everybody's laughing. You say something touching, people start crying. So there is a reciprocation. There's a relationship. But then there was a time when our office said, now it's not just about speaking to people, you have to speak into the camera. Camera machine hai. Log nahi hai wahan hasne wale, rone wale. Right. So that was the first time I realized that, hey, this is something that I'm not at all confident about. I've never done this. And now I have to suddenly start doing that. And the first couple of videos, oh man, I'm telling you, they were so horribly bad because I'm looking into the lens. So lens is just glass and electronic circuitry, right? So obviously it was not me. But then I kept doing it. If you face what you're not confident with, if you face what you're not comfortable with, if you face what you're fearful about and keep doing it, you get better at it. And today you see me talking all the time. It's not people. I'm looking into the camera and talking. And it's like right now, at least 3 of you are there. Even if you weren't there, it would be the similar way that I'm talking to you guys now. Correct? So it's all building blocks. Every failure is a stepping stone to the next success. So when you feel that you have lack of confidence, don't stay in your comfort zone saying, I'm going to do it. Get into your stretch zone where you can stretch yourself, extend yourself. And slowly and steadily, you will see that you gain confidence in what you lacked confidence in.
Sir, your book, Life's Amazing Secret, has changed people's vision of looking at others and the world, and also dealing with problems one encounters in everyday life, like day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.
What urged you to shift to books to reach out to the people, even after you were inspiring millions and millions through your speeches?
I think for me, I'm primarily a speaker. Correct? I'm more a speaker than an author or a writer. And that's how I thought I was, correct? That mainly a speaker. But I have a very close friend of mine who's much older to me, obviously, very much older to me, in London. So every single time I went to London, and every year I would spend at least 1.5 to 2 months in London over the year. And that was for the last over 15 to 18 years. So every single time I spent with this gentleman, Amazing guy. He would always tell me that you're speaking and so many people are watching you. Why don't you write a book? Because there will be people who may not watch videos. There'll be something for them to read. Especially there are people who don't necessarily go to social media all the time. Rare species, extinct species, but there will be people. So I say, why don't you write a book? Now I kept postponing it because book is hard work, man. It is absolute hard work. Speaking is easy. It comes like this. You just shoot from the hip, straight start. But writing means you have to get grounded. You have to become a terrestrial animal from a bird. You can't fly as much as you fly. Right, and start giving all the energy and the attention to writing it down. So I was postponing it until the year 2017 when Penguin called me and said that we want you to write a book for us. I said, देखता हूँ, देखता हूँ बोला मतलब 90% नहीं. आप में से कितने लोगों ने ऐसा कभी पूछा ही होगा ना किसी ने चल रही आहे तो का आपण लोहगडला जाऊया किंवा आपण सिंहगडला जाऊया ट्रेकिंगला असं विचारायला आणि मी बघतो म्हटलं की काय बघतो म्हणजे नाही येणार आहे माझा दुसरा प्लॅन आहे. So I was like said मैं देखता हूँ, I'll see. Now when I said that, the second thing that happened just after I dropped my call with Vaishali Mathur, the commissioning editor at Penguin, this friend of mine from London, Shruti Dharmadas, he called me up saying, when are you writing? Straight after the call. This is 2017 December, maybe October. Straight after the call. And I said, hey man, is there something happening here? अभी पेंगुइन का फोन आया और लंदन के दोस्त को मालूम नहीं है पेंगुइन का फोन आया, तुरंत ये खत्म हो गया, इनका भी फोन आया. And then I said, okay, yeah, I'll look at it. I'll look into it. And then I took up my phone and I was just kind of browsing something. And suddenly I got a WhatsApp message, which was a quote by Richard Branson. And the quote by Richard Branson said, if you get an opportunity and you're not sure whether you want to do it, say a yes first and then we'll see how to do it. तो मैं बोला ये तीनों ना अभी एक पूरा क्लियर कट इंडिकेशन है कि मेरे को लिखना है. So I called back. I called Vaishali Mathur the next day and I said, I'm in for it, ma'am. We'll see how to take care of it and let's do it. And guess what? 2017, I signed the contract. And 2018, just 3 or 4 months later, March, this friend of mine contracted cancer. He had 5 tumors in his brain, And I'm like, he's been after me for several years and now suddenly gets cancer. Thank God I agreed. And I didn't even know how long he will live. So I expedited the process. October of 2018, the book was released. And thankfully, I was able to give it to him. And he survived for almost 1.5 years after that. Last month, 1.5 months back in the month of March, he left this world. And very close friend, I really miss him. It was him who was responsible to push me to write this book. And I was glad that he could see the book, he could read the book. And that was the journey to start the process of writing. And now I'm an author, I can write more. In fact, we're going to be writing more, one coming in July 2020, next year.
Sir, you are an engineer, a motivational speaker, a monk, and an author too. These are like 4 different directions on the crossroad. People stay content with being even one of these. What do you think was the reason behind you wanting to be all of these, and how did it help you in your journey?
One of the things that all of us need to know that the greatest enemy of our growth in life is satisfaction. If you're satisfied with what you have, you're never growing. Satisfaction should be personal. थोड़े में भी जी लेंगे, लेकिन growth में satisfaction नहीं होना चाहिए. If growth में satisfaction रहेगा तो contribution में नहीं, will not happen. If you're looking at adding value to the world, you can't stay satisfied, right? So yes, these are 4 different directions apparently. I'm an engineer, correct, an electrical engineer. And the greatest advantage of being an engineer for me was analytical mindset. वो हर चीज को फ्लोचार्ट बनाएंगे और हर चीज को बॉक्स में डालेंगे, हर चीज का स्ट्रक्चर बनाएंगे. So if you see my answers, my talks will have a structure. They would be like sporadic. Everything will have a structure. That came from being an engineer, correct? And then from engineer to monk was to follow my passion. Like I said earlier, I wasn't going to spend my 90,000 hours crying. So I decided to explore life. And being an engineer was extremely advantageous because even as a monk, the more I tried to understand life, it was all structured. which is why Life's Amazing Secret, the book is also structured. There are 4 wheels, 4 structures, 4 aspects of life. So that engineering moved into life as a monk. And then as I was experiencing life, structuring it, understanding it, then came the next phase, obviously, sharing it with others. Now that I have the experience, हम सबका एक अनुभव होता, आपल्या सगळ्यांचा एक अनुभव असतो. आपल्याला काय आवडलं ना फार, किंवा आपल्याला कुठल्याही गोष्टीची फार चांगली अनुभूती झाली किंवा फार चांगला अनुभव आला, तर आपल्याला ते दुसऱ्यांना द्यायची इच्छा होते, दुसऱ्यांना वाटण्याची इच्छा होते. आपण जर फार चांगला कुठला एक सिनेमा पाहिला किंवा पिक्चर पाहिला, तर 4 लोकांना आपण सांगतो की अरे फार चांगला आहे तो नेटफ्लिक्सवर पिक्चर, तू पण पहा. So I realized I'm feeling so much advantage, I must share. And that began the journey of a motivational speaker. Correct. And then as I was sharing what I was having in my life, being a motivational speaker, obviously Shruti Dharma Das, my friend, said, why don't you write it down? And that began the journey of an author. So engineering से passion के लिए monk बना. Monk में सब structure जो सीखा, उससे motivational speaker share किया. और जो motivational speaker में सब जानने लगे वीडियो में, तो उससे किताब लिखा. And how did it advantage me? Oh yes, it has definitely come to my advantage, because personally as a monk as well, but in what I'm trying to do, make the message reach out. So millions are watching it, millions are reading it. So all of these have been integrated. I didn't see them as different. I saw one integrating into the other. Engineer coming to a monk, monk coming to, और अभी भी engineer हूँ मैं. Life engineer हूँ ना भैया, मैं छोड़ा थोड़ी है मैंने अपना profession. I'm a lifestyle engineer. It's engineering, minds and thoughts.
The next question for you is, students are observed under various pressures and stressful situations such as parents' expectations, peer pressure, rat race, and whatnot. Did you experience any such pressure during your school or college days? If yes, how did you deal with it? And how do you think a student should deal with it?
Correct. Thank you. A very important question. I think when we're talking about pressure, there's no question that we won't have pressure. Pressure नहीं होगा ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. If you don't have pressure in what you do, you're not growing. Without pressure, there's no question of growth. The only problem is, are you enjoying the pressure or are you suffering the pressure? If you're doing something that you don't like, you're suffering that pressure. If you're doing something that you like, you're enjoying the pressure. Pressure will be there in both. Like if I'm taking 250 flights a year, do you think it's not pressure? It is pressure. It is pressure. So much travel is pressure. But because I'm doing something that I truly love, I'm enjoying that pressure. It doesn't cause anxiety, stress to me. It's not negative. Correct? So I truly do not think that pressure is bad. I just feel that if you're suffering the pressure, that is bad. If you're suffering and negative about the pressure, means you're doing something that is not you. Correct? So when I was studying school and college, obviously there was a lot of pressure. Correct? But I enjoyed my studying. And I'm electrical engineering, so I enjoyed electrical machines. Good at it. I enjoyed power systems. These were some of I hated M3. I hated M3, but nevertheless, I absolutely enjoyed some of my subjects. But when I moved to being a professional at work, I didn't enjoy it. But that pressure, that's crap. I'm not going to take this kind of pressure. I don't want to suffer 90,000 hours. College and school was okay. And thankfully, parents didn't put that pressure on me. So my advice to everybody who's going through pressure is this. Pressure is going to be there, guys. The only question is it negative or positive? Are you suffering or are you enjoying? If you're suffering, examine your journey again. Evaluate your journey again. And see what are those things that you need to change, adjust in a way that you can start enjoying that pressure.
Sir, in this fast-paced world, most of the people face burnout and exhaustion problems. And increasing the number of people suffering from mental problems or illness. Sir, how do you think spirituality would play an important role in maintaining the positivity in life in the post-COVID world as well?
I think when we talk about spirituality, Pranav, we talk about 2 dimensions to it. One is the philosophy, and the second is the process. The process of spirituality, whether it's meditation, chanting, prayer, mindfulness, gratitude, worship, whatever people do, that process gives you the inner strength to face challenge. If you currently, if there is currently if there is burnout, and there is a lot of stress and anxiety because of work people face, then obviously it gives you kind of a stable mindset when you meditate or be mindful or whatever it process is. It gives you that stillness, that calmness. You're able to face what you go through with a better mindset. Correct. So post-COVID also these things will work, because post-COVID there'll be a lot of anxiety, there'll be a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of insecurity. So all of that will definitely be there. But to me, more than the process, the philosophy of spirituality is very crucial, because the philosophy of spirituality changes your perspective. And when your perspective and worldview changes, then automatically what you deal with around you changes. Correct. Like, for example, you're talking about burnout and exhaustion. People are like really at the grind, giving 200% to grow, 200% of their energy to sometimes working 80, 85, 90 hours a week. Correct? 100 hours a week. That's too much, because they want to grow and they want to be in the rat race. Right? And I mean, it's okay, fine, but it's going to come at a certain cost. Going to come at a certain cost. It's a very unidimensional approach. And like sometimes people who are scientists or researchers are very unidimensional. Maybe that's their focus, and they may be exceptionally great at what they do. But there's other important aspects of life which these guys miss. They miss life. They miss living. They miss family. They miss themselves. They miss a spiritual dimension. Correct? So you may have 150% performance in something, one thing, or you could probably have 80% performance in 5 things. I would rather do 80% in 5 things than do 150% in one thing. Because if 150% in one thing means I've reached there, correct? But at the cost of 4 other things. I've reached there with burnout, exhaustion, stress, right? But if I'm 80% in everything, I have a balanced life. Also, when I'm talking about attending to different things, if you're only excelling in one aspect, then if that one aspect is snatched away from you, you have nothing else. But you have 5 aspects to your life, and you're doing bad in one thing, you still have other 4 dimensions which you can count on and derive your strength from. You know what I mean? So this philosophy of spirituality changes our perspective and brings the right kind of balance to deal with burnout and exhaustion. So the process of meditation helps, but the perspective of philosophy brings in the balance. And when you're talking about the post-COVID world, our perspectives are definitely going to, we are looking at a new world. We're looking at a new world that we're going to live in post-COVID. Like, who the hell is going to spend money on your flight tickets when you can have a Zoom meeting now? Zoom was already there, but people weren't using it enough. Who the hell is going to invite me for an event if we can have an event on Zoom? You're going to save hotel costs. You're going to save logistical prices. You're going to save for a corporate event, alcohol. I don't take, but a lot of alcohol costs out there. So much is going to be saved if you just do an event online. Correct? So such a change we're going to look at. So we need to brace for that change. And a lot of people have this insecurity today. आम्हाला नोकरी मिळणार आहे का? नोकरी आहे तर नोकरी जाणार आहे का? आमचा बिझनेस कसं होणार? काय होणार आमच्या बिझनेसचं? मी नेहमी सांगतो, आपल्या इकडे शेतकरी असतात आणि शेतकऱ्यांसाठी पाऊस जो आहे ना, तो शेतकऱ्यांच्या कंट्रोलमध्ये नसतो. पाऊस त्यांच्या हातात नसतो. बट टू टिल द सॉइल, टू प्लाव द सॉइल, शेत नांदणे त्यांच्या हातात असते. आणि जे आपल्या हातात आहे ते करा ना. ते केल्याने जेव्हा पाऊस येईल तेव्हा येईल. जसा पाऊस सुरू झाला ना, you are ready. Correct? So during this lockdown time, what's happening around you is not in your control. It's like the rain. What you can do right now to improve yourself is in your control. And if you constantly keep improving yourself, once the COVID thing goes away and the lockdown period ends, whenever things get better, it's like the rain coming. But you're future ready. तुम्ही तुमचं काम केलेलं आहे आणि तुम्ही तुमचं काम केलेलं असल्यामुळे उत्कर्ष होईल, वेळ लागेल पण होईल. So I think that philosophy of spirituality changes our perspective and makes us ready for what's going to come.
Sir, your COEP or Shaskiya Abhiyantriki Mahavidyalaya Pune, memories and experiences you could never forget. Could you please share some of those with us?
Oh yeah, College of Engineering Pune, man. So many memories associated. So many memories, so many experiences. I love the building. I just love the building. It just has such a vibe, you know. And I can't forget the boat club canteen, man. Just can't forget the boat club canteen. Sitting on the banks of the river, which was dirty then, it's become dirtier now, you know. But sitting on the banks of that river, we used to have lawns there. Like boat club canteens असं ते वरचं एक आहे आणि मग if you walk down a little bit, there were lawns there, right? And that canteen ka mama ka chai, you know, with ilaichi and adrak. And the boat club canteen samosa, man, I haven't had a samosa like that in my entire life. I've traveled the world. You can show this to your boat club canteen mama. मेरे समय जो था वो तो गया होगा अभी पता नहीं. I don't know if it's there or not. But go and show this video. Tell him, whoever it is, tell them that the boat club canteen samosas were the best I've had in my entire life. Trust me, I miss those. And I think couple of months back last year, I had come to Pune for an event and I was passing through COEP. So I told my team, my filming team was with me. I stopped the car. I said, let's go in. They weren't, and Sagar was with me as well. Sagar's an alumni of COEP also. So we walked in and nobody knew there I was an alumni of COEP. But they knew me obviously because of social media. So instantly people started coming for selfies and autographs and stuff like that. And I walked into that lawn just to be nostalgic, remember the chai and the samosa. And then two of your professors were there and they were inaugurating a steamboat or whatever that boat, new one they had. And they saw me and they knew me because of social media, not that I was an alumni. And they say, hey, idhar aaya. Then they came and they said, please sir, inauguration karnar ka hai. So then I sat in that boat. This is like last year. And we went into the river. Man, that river's become like so dirty. Trust me. When I was there, it was much better. And then we got back and again selfies and stuff. Oh, it was nostalgic. I loved it. Boat club. I can never forget the boat club canteen. All my students. I don't know if you know Professor V.N. Thatte, electrical engineering professor Thatte wrote a book as well. He was there during our time. His son Abhijit Thatte was with us and then several of our friends. Incredible memories. Can't never forget. Can never forget.
Sir, on behalf of MindSpark, we would like to thank you for taking out time and talking to us. It has been an amazing and enlightening interview. Would you like to share a small message as you conclude the talk?
Yeah, sure, I would. This is my last story for this interview. And one line, takeaway line from this one story, which I very strongly believe in. A teacher once came to a classroom of 10-year-olds and gave them an assignment. She said, I want you to write a sentence in your notebooks, but that sentence should have only 10 words. A sentence with only 10 words. And not just 10 words, each word should have only 2 letters. So every word must have only 2 letters, 10 such words, making a sentence, and the sentence should be meaningful also. It shouldn't be like, he ate me up too. They're all 2-lettered words, but it doesn't make any sense. 10 words, 2-lettered each, making sense. The students scratched their heads, they tried hard, but they really couldn't get it right. And finally, they turned to the teacher and said, ma'am, you tell us what it is. The teacher wrote on the board the sentence with 10 words, each word with only 2 letters. It was a quote by a very popular African-American singer. I can't recollect the name right now. Very popular African-American singer. He's no more. And she wrote that quote on the board. Ready? one sentence, 10 words, each word with only 2 letters. She wrote, if it is to be. If it is to be. And the second half, it is up to me. It is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. If you want to change whatever you want to be in your life, nobody can do it for you. You have to take the responsibility for doing it. That is a quote as a takeaway message from today's interview. But thank you very much, Arya, Pranav, and Adwai. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you and sharing some of my thoughts and reflections with you. Excellent questions, incredible questions all of you came up with. So thank you for having me over for this interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for being with us today. Well, this brings us to the end of our talk. We hope that these interviews from our show, The Quarantine Talks, have kept you motivated and inspired throughout this lockdown period. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you very much.